All right, good morning, everyone. All right, let's get started. So, for today, Tuesday, May 14th, we have the following. For economic data, uh, we do not have any major reports at all for today until, well, actually, I'll take that back. They start at 8:30 a.m., excuse me. I misspoke. So, we have the NFIB Small Business Index, which came out at 6 a.m. Came out better than expected. Then at 8:30 we had wholesale sales month over month, which came in worse than expected. Core PPI month over month came in higher, a lot higher than expected at 0.5%. Expectation is 0.2. PPI month over month also came in a lot higher than expected. Expectation was 0.3, came in at 0.5%. Now, what's important about that is during the post financial crisis era, going up until 2020, basically everyone was looking for, the Fed was looking for inflation to be higher, which is why these numbers here are in green because they're higher. But at this stage, inflation, they're looking for it to be lower. Anyway, so that's what's the reason why this is in green, although in the present context, that's actually a bad thing. At 9:10 a.m., we'll have FOMC member Cook speaking. Not expecting us to have any major impact from there, but after these numbers with some surprises, we might get significant movement. But the big event is at 10 o'clock Eastern. We'll have Fed Chairman Powell speaking at 10 o'clock Eastern, and that should have a substantial, very substantial impact on the markets as a result, especially with this data that just came out. All day long, we'll have mortgage delinquencies, not expecting much impact from that. All right, having said that, let's take a look at the market. As of this moment, we are seeing the market looking like it's going to open lower than where it closed yesterday. You can clearly see the degree of negative movement that occurred. That's a pretty large spike down, again, because the inflation data came in a lot higher than expected. However, the market has recovered to where it's recouped most of those declines, but we'll see. Having said that, let's take a look at what stocks were moving. By the way, the NASDAQ itself was mildly bearish yesterday, not very bearish, but went down a little bit and then went sideways for the rest of the day. All right, so looking at um, the markets yesterday, Gilead was bullish, able to reach target number two to the upside of 67.39, and then topping out above that. FTNT was also able to reach target number two to the upside of 59.90 and also topped out slightly higher. Billy was able to reach target number two to the upside of 1588, then topped out at 1608. Next up is CSCO, which was able to reach a high of 4882. Didn't reach our target number one to the upside. Got about uh, three-fourths, about 80% of the way there at least. Next up is Rivian, which was able to reach target number two to the upside of 1070 in very rapid fashion, and then topped out somewhere above 1110 a share. After that, BIDU was bullish. It was able to reach target number one to the upside of 111.42, and then got about two-thirds of the way to target number two to the upside, topping out at 112.75. Next up, we have Tesla, which was not able to reach its target number two to the upside of 175.57, but it topped out very close at 175.40. So close enough that we can pretty much count that as hitting T2. Next up is Amazon, which was bearish, able to reach target number one to the downside of 186.30, And then it went about halfway to target number two to the downside, but never reached it. Next up is Microsoft, which was able to reach target number two to the downside of 411.70, reaching a low of 410.82 before it reversed back up and recouped some of those losses for the day. JD.com was able to reach target number one to the upside, 34.16, and then it got just over halfway to target number two to the upside, but topped out at 34.60. And then finally, we had CLSK, which was able to go about to reach target number one to the upside of 1670, but we were looking for it to move above there, and it did. It went about 60% of the way to target number two to the upside, but never reached it. Topped out at 1710. So yesterday we had tons of movement, lots of opportunity for profitability. So and also a lot of you mentioned that you did well yesterday. All right, looking at the pre-market, here's what we have so far. All right. Obviously, I'm just going to be looking at NASDAQ stocks. So first up is HOLO, which is currently up 71% and rising. Over 16 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So that will be added to our pre-market radar for stocks. Symbol is HOLO. Next up is Robinhood, which is currently up 6.45% on 1.75 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll add that to our pre-market radar. Next up, we have KOSS, which is up 38% on 2.8 million shares. It's at least $1 per share. So we'll add that to our pre-market radar as well. Next up, we have Lucid, which is currently up 8.19% on 2.4 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So that will be added to our pre-market radar. Next up, we have Novavax, which is presently up only 2.44%. So that's not enough movement, so we'll skip that one. Plug Power is sharply higher, up about 59% on 27 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. The news here is that the U.S. Energy Department's conditional commitment loan guarantee for green hydrogen plants, and Plug received $1.66 billion in a conditional commitment loan. So of course that's a big deal. So the stock is up sharply. Let's see. Rivian came up again. So Rivian's only up about 4.68%, so not enough to qualify for our watch list, but just noting that it is up. SoFi is showing up as well, but it's only up 1.41%, so that's not enough. So I'll skip that one. SoundHound is currently down 3.62%, so not enough of a move there either, so we'll skip that one. Let's see. Virgin Galactic. It's an NYSE stock. Sorry, I can't show it to you, but Virgin Galactic is up. Yeah, I should note that this is not Virgin Galactic. This is SPWR, but for Space SPCE, which is a New York Stock Exchange stock, it is up. I should make sure you guys are aware that there's currently an attempt to rally a lot of what are called meme stocks, like GameStop, AMC, basically stocks that take on a meaning beyond their company. AMC, GameStop used to be Bed Bath and Beyond was in there too, but they're no longer they're no longer listed, so therefore they don't count. But anything that basically has a large degree of short interest that is part of this kind of universe of stocks that people are looking at. So you'll be seeing a lot of movement from those, I assume, for days or maybe even weeks to come. So just keep an eye on that. All right, so SPWR, that's currently up 114% on about 23 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll add SPWR to the pre-market radar as well. Next up, we have SYRA, which is presently up 40% on 3.4 million shares of volume, and it's at least $1 per share, so that will be added as well, SYRA. And then I have Tilray, TLRY. Let's see how that's looking. Okay, currently up 8% on 6.1 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to the pre-market radar as well. And one other stock I should look at. Excuse me. Actually, that one's not moving. Okay, so that's what we have. All right, so I see here, Jen, you've mentioned some stocks. BYND. Actually, I was curious to see if that moved up, and it did. Aha. Not surprising. So BYND has a large short float, and this was actually yesterday on the top of my list of things that I mentioned in the coaching room as stocks that probably are good candidates for a short squeeze because it actually has, at present, a higher short float than GameStop itself. So GME. So Beyond Meat is up about 20%, 1.35 million shares, and it's at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to the pre-market radar as well. Plug Power we already have. Cost we already have. Holo we already have. SPWR we already have. SYRA we have. Tilray. All right, so if you guys see any other stocks that meet all four of our criteria, let me know in the chat. We're looking for NASDAQ listed stocks that are at least $1 per share in this current pre-market session. Also, the stock must have achieved at least a 6% price change, positive or negative, and the stock must have achieved at least 1 million shares of pre-market volume. So any other stocks besides the ones already mentioned, let me know in the chat. I'm going to post the ones I've mentioned so far, which is a lot. And if you see any others that meet all four criteria, do let me know in the chat, and then we'll take a look. Okay, I have to give it another 10 seconds here, and I'll have to wrap up for the pre-market pulse. By the way, GameStop, just on a side note, is currently trading just under $70 a share, reached a high of $80. So as I expected, they're still pushing the stock. So that's about, I think, 50% of the way to the all-time high. All right. So we'll wrap up for today, folks. Please be sure to like the video. See, we have 11 likes, but more than 11 people watching. So please be sure to hit that like button. That greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm, and we thank you for that. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so that way you get notifications. You know, just in case I accidentally schedule for the wrong time for a broadcast, you'll get a notification as soon as I update that. For anyone watching this on a replay, check out fundertrading.com, our website. There will be a link in the description of this video. For everyone who's part of the coaching program, I'll see you there in about 22 minutes, and we'll pick up from there. Otherwise, I'll see you guys for tomorrow's pre-market pulse. Have a great trading session. Hopefully we get more movement like we did yesterday, and we'll go from there. Thanks. Take care.